So here I'm going to show you a technique for the lateral neck, but the intention here, is the posterior and middle scalenes. So these two muscles come off the tubercle, the posterior tubercle of C2 and 3 for the medial, and the posterior goes from C2 to C7, and they go to the first rib and sometimes the second rib. So I'm going to use my forefingers. I'm going to get under Kiki's neck, get her out of the way, and I'm going to pull with this hand as I support her head. So I'm pulling into the transverse processes, but the posterior part. So this is the transverse process where my fingertip here is. So I want to be just behind that, because I want to go into that posterior tubercle. So with the soft fingers, I pull. This is very slow. And once I get around to like the spinous process, so the middle of the neck, I'll come back under and I'll repeat, and I'll move down. So gripping with these two fingers here, pull. Here, pull. So this hand I can play with the neck. So if I do this, if I push Tiki's head away from me, I'm going to shorten the scalenes. I'll pull across. I move down. So now I'm C6, C7. So now I'm posterior scaling. Transverse process. I come onto the back side of it and I pull. Okay, come all the way under. Take up the slack, take out the skin, slack with my palm this way, and then come across with a bigger contact. Feels okay? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I can use the other hand and more of a cross grip this way. So I'm going to pull in here. So the hand on the head is not necessarily pushing, it's just preventing movement. Because if I didn't have that hand there, she would probably rotate. Which again, is not necessarily a bad thing, but we can rotate her toward the neck, the side. Neutral. Here. So we're just trying to release the lateral neck with emphasis on the scalenes. So getting behind the transverse processes from C2 down to C6 to C7, so the base of the neck. This is a great way to add into the supine work you do already. This is just a great wrinkle on lateral neck work in this position, because the client can really relax. Scalenes generally are tight in most people, especially people who have upper crust syndrome. They tend to get tight. These are accessory respiration muscles, and they tend to get overworked, short, tight trigger points. So it's just a great area to release on pretty much all of our clients. Most of our clients will benefit from some scalene work. 101 ways to work the scalenes. This is just one, guys. So here, guys, we're going to use a skeleton just for a good visual for you guys. So I'm bringing my hand underneath Kiki's head this way, right? And doing this. So I want to contact the transverse processes, these nodules here. But I want to get onto the posterior. So I don't want to come anterior, and I might compress these nerve roots, and or we may come anterior when we're working the anterior scalene, but we're working the posterior and the medial scalene. So I contact the transverse processes, and then I come slightly round the back. So here, this is the posterior tubercle. So I come in here and I pull. And then we change the head position. Shorten the scalenes, lengthen the scalenes. But it's always pulling. And normally I use 2 or 3 fingers depending on the size of the client. So it's C2, C3. That's medial scalene. And when we work down, we'll be more working the posterior scalenes. So it's this position. I'm not coming around and over the top. It's transverse process around the back. Transverse process around the back. Transverse processes, hook, pull around the back. Pull. And when I'm doing this as a therapeutic massage, when I finish the stroke, I have to kind of like depress the foam of the table to get my hand back over. If I don't, it becomes a bit scratchy across the neck. So I pull across, depress the table, get my hand back underneath.